Dope. So let me tell you something about some of our live streams. I don't know if you've seen, I've been like y'all, and like I always like look to Alexis for like events and stuff. You know, I've really been, and I love that we're all kind of taking these steps forward in different capacities. I've really been leaning into media. I think that's my background, and really transversing and really understanding both sides of the scope for these guidelines and stuff like that. And it's so powerful for us to kind of stick by what we believe is right. And our live streams that are saved are like 3 of the 5 things that are like giving our account that stripe, kind of, not a stripe, but because we're actually clean and we're fair because we stay above board, but Olive is fucking going crazy right now. But like, I refuse to take down our playbacks because it's like, we're absolutely not doing anything like wrong or incorrect. Like, this AI is now just catching stuff. And like, sure, I could just delete it and like have a clear cache and like be able to be suggested. All that they're doing is saying, we're not going to feed you to anyone who isn't organically given to. Thanks to our reels, we're at 50% plus like non-followers. So people, the community's doing it. So I just want to put that signal and message out there because I feel a lot of people feeling the pressure of these outdated guidelines that are still very informed by the stigma. And like, even with these lives, because we smoke weed and we talk about some of our favorite brands, I've noticed now anytime I even tag you guys, because Blunts is in it, so they look for everything. Soon enough, they'll probably look for stoners too. But right now, it's any apparatus. It's like bongs, blunts, anything, and it's tobacco too. Now they've tied in, so we can't have the back and forth. What about them? But I refuse to be treated like a criminal for something that is not criminal, and it's through my lens of morals, not this. Like, as soon as federal legalization happens, because Facebook's in California, I hear that. Who did we talk to yesterday? Sean Katie said that Mark Zuckerberg just doesn't like weed. Because like, it probably puts you in your heart, not your head. But I don't want to get all conspiracy theory. Give me a year, I'll be right. Like every other conspiracy theory. I'm getting too spicy again. But I'm just saying, our playbacks are so good, so fulfilling in a community nature. And I've heard such good things about people just throwing it on to feel like they're hanging with us and to bring some light to their day. I'm not backing down. And I made a post about it. And then I paid to promote that post. I got a sponsored post of me smoking a blunt that says it is okay. Like, we can't run away. No. We can't run away.
I am firm on the fact that when I write the word cannabis, I write the word cannabis. Every single time I see the word cannabis with an asterisk in it, I want to smack them. Stop it.
Don't run away. Don't be under the stigma.
Who cares if they shadow ban you? The community's there to support you.
Share it. Get your friends to share it.
Write it properly. Our legal corporation business name is Blunts&Beans. We have dealt with hindsight, you know. Yeah. Hindsight probably, you know.
People tried to warn us too.
Like, it's what we are. It's who we do. We're proud of it. There's nothing wrong with it. When we first started our Instagram and we were like understanding like community guide, they got us a lot in the beginning. But then eventually we fooled them. We were like, oh, we're just a coffee company. Like, it's fine. We just sell coffee. Like,
and that's for
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're 100% a mindful podcast. This is where I've never had a CEO on and just say, I'm available at these stores. It's a 38% THC and goodbye and pay me. You can market through deep conversations. In fact, if you know anything about marketing, it's about that fabric connection and who you are, not what you are. So even us as third parties, as far as making media, like when you throw an event and you put up, like with that freestyle I did with the different, you know, this is like this new space. And I think that it seems edgy right now, but it's actually like the clear path to connecting with your audience. And man, they didn't see that coming, because what only matters in marketing is the connection to who you are. We want to hear your story. So when a CEO of a company comes on, we want to know if you meditate. This is a mindful podcast, you know, like exactly. But do we spend 80% of the time talking about weed? Yeah. Is there peripheral value in purchasing choices due to people learning about you and your story? Yeah. Those are peripheral benefits. That's like, we're here to actually talk about like you and building it and why, and do you have a connection with the medicine of this? So it's very much about positioning, which could feel like semantics, but like if that's the game we got to play right now, that's the game we got to play. And if we got to lean one way a little more, but let's not back down, because I see you guys also doing that. I appreciate you. And it's like, we can't be bullied. We can't be bullied by this old stigma. Like they gave us newish rules, but we're still not being favored. Like, and I don't mean to complain, but like, we need to navigate our way out of this little strange, it feels like we're being bullied a bit. Like, I don't know if you were ever bullied in high school, but you know, when you kind of just try to avoid the bully instead of going in the front door of the school, and you go in the back door, and then before you know it, the kids notice you're fucking scared, and then they keep going at you. So it's like, you got to be like, no, like, this is a medicine. You don't want to say it's a medicine? Then I guess we agree to disagree. I'm on your platform. I'm bringing fucking content and a community to your platform. I'm giving you value.
Ralph.
That's my stance.
I think it's engagement levels that like the cannabis industry really shines in. Like, you know, we don't have the capacity to grow to the following of most influencers, just because they'll shut us down and they'll take us down.
They won't feed it. But you can't feed it. So we actually have to depend on the people that we know, which is good. It strengthens those bonds. Yeah. But exactly, we're already.
But the engagement that we receive, like with the, you know, small communities that we have, if you compare us to other communities, like I think it's untouchable. Like, we have such huge engagement. It's so great. And I don't think we see that mirrored in many other industries. Like, it's difficult to find, I think.
I think the sex industry, which is funny. Like, they put, there I go again. But it's true. That was
Tuesday.
11's gonna go to sex. But our friend Michelle Fischler, who's
moderating the cannabis and sex panel. I don't know what you were gonna say about her, but I just.
Oh, was she just saying she faces some of the same guideline restrictions that we do in the cannabis industry, because sex is looked at as a taboo issue. And then I'd like to furthermore explore that. Why isn't it okay for people to discuss that issue? You know, if not explicit images, sure, there's Pornhub for a reason. Go jerk off over there. But like over here, we should be able to discuss it, man. Like, you know, what's up? Hello, Nate Hammer, Barcelona.
I didn't realize that Spanibus was so early in the year.
We talk about sex and the hammer comes in.
Why aren't we at Spanibus, guys?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm manifesting us being there next year.
Yeah, we're going to be there next year.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're going next year.
Next year is the year that we're all
going to all going to Spanibus.
I looked it up, and for a hotel with a pool, not all inclusive, but like with flights and everything, it's around $1,200 a person if you stay in a room with 2 people. It's not too expensive to be there.
Is that like a couple days worth, or is that like a week?
Yeah, how long?
That was for just like one day ahead, one day after. So you could obviously stay longer for more if you wanted to, but.
Hey, Sky Bakery, welcome.
Hey, we went into a dispensary yesterday, and we met this passionate dude who was there, and we're talking about Can Expo, and then we meet someone who's making like really delectable baked goods infused with cannabis, and that's really cool. So we love to see passionate creators. I think that's part of the thing. I feel a little bit protective of us all. Being kind of bullied by these guidelines, because I'm like, let the creators shine. Like, we have CEOs scared to come on this show because they think they're gonna get in trouble. And I'm like, dude, how else are you gonna share your story? Like, we want to talk about your products. Like, we're allowed to talk. Like, but we can feel people, you know. And even this sweet guy here, you know, they don't have the content up yet. Like, we want to inspire all each other to create and to present. And like, I don't know if you're worried about personal judgment or professional implications or whatever, but like, I'm just saying, we're gonna hold steady here on this one. We're not gonna be backing down from this. This is medicine.
It's so sad. There's so many amazing humans in the cannabis industry,
Yes.
or just doing their own thing and shining light on their passions. And it's hard because the industry doesn't allow for marketing traditionally, but also a lot of people, when it does come to marketing or getting their brand out there, they don't know how the regulations and the legislation break down, and they're scared if they misstep, it's going to be a huge fine or their license and their whole livelihood gone in one tiny little dope.
Yeah.
And it takes so much to build that.
Fear. It's a justified fear because, like, imagine you're okay. I want to start a micro. I need
Have
$1
fun
million.
at benefits.
I don't have $1 million, but I own a house, so I'm gonna put my house up on the line. My child's home. I'm gonna put everything I own on the line for this. And because it's so narrow and restrictive, and you might not know how it breaks down, like, I think that is a justified fear, but that's why you should align yourself with people that, you know, are trying to stay in the right of things. You know, that aren't too over the line, people that will be cautious with your license, cautious with you. And I think that there are definitely, like, there's nothing wrong with sharing your story. Absolutely not. But I think it's so important, and the fear, I guess, is there because it all could be taken away with one sanction.
Yeah.
Like, that's how huge it is. So
I hear that. I definitely hear that. And, you know, we'd never encourage anyone to like jeopardize their whole thing. And of course you're going to want to protect that.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to, it all dates back to you, like putting all the work into building this thing. And whether that's your bread or butter or your family or whatever, you keep rocking on that. I'll keep hitting these.
Okay.
Yeah, let's line these up here even. Yeah, but like the fear, I think will hold you back from growing your business into like what you like wanted to do anyway. Like kind of being held in this like cocky, like you can release products but you can't talk about it. Like I don't think that's the case. And as far as I can see, like with tourism opening up, these marketing policies aren't even being policed. It's people reading guidelines, and of course they, as we said, all respect to what they built. We want to help grow that. Like I'm seeing, I see all the work that you've put into it. Of course you got to be careful, and of course they can't publish it through their channels.
I think it's different in Ontario than other places, but here in Alberta, it is policed, and it's policed heavily. Like you know what I mean? Like we have to be very careful with what we do for our events because we've been called by Health Canada, we've been called by AGLC, and we work with them. So we don't want to like invalidate that trust like that we have built with them with us so that we can continue doing the things. But like they're hiring people now to go to events. Cool. You know, like they see that we're operating in this lack of legislation and they're going to it now.
Cool.
Heard about the very first retailer to set up at a public event in Alberta is at the sex show, at the Taboo show. So they're going to have a retailer there with product selling it on site at the Taboo show. This is amazing.
It's an 18 plus show though.
And I know the person whose husband works at AGLC, and she told me that they are going. They 100% have to go, and they have to make sure that everything is running compliantly. So I think it's so different wherever you are, and that's why it's just nice to know, like, be firm in your framework. Like, so you have a certain framework. You guys talk about mindfulness. You guys talk about personal stories. You talk about, you know, you shout out products here and there, but like at the end of the day, that's not the sole purpose of you, right? And so I think that because we have these frameworks built where we're comfortable with doing this, comfortable with doing that, not okay with doing this, I think that that kind of makes us a safe space because we've been here hustling and making sure that we're doing it right. And it's frustrating as event hosts to like see other event companies or event people come up in a place that like just don't do the homework. You know, you're not doing the homework. And I know it looks easy. I know we make it look easy, but like, you got to do your homework, because somebody eventually is going to be made an example, and then it's going to either make it more narrow and restrictive, or if it wasn't that way, it could be less narrow and restrictive. So I think that's my mindset, is always play by the rules, get more responsibility. And so I think that's kind of like how we operate. We obviously get on the line where we need to, but I'm not going to put asterisks up in cannabis. Like, that's what we are. That's what we're doing. There's nothing to be ashamed of for that. But being really careful in outward facing marketing, what we put out.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I mean. The power of kind of like the third party. Like, I think if someone came straight out and said like if this was a weed product, like, hey, like this, like, I'm selling this and this is the best. And you should buy this from me and it's the best. Like, burgers are allowed to do that. Alcohol is allowed to do that. Restaurants are allowed to do that, but cannabis is not allowed to do that. Fine. Okay. I've studied that. I've understood that. But I also understand the parallel of me or us acting as a third party derivative. And I'm sorry, I don't have a Health Canada license. You can't do shit to me. Like, like basically I'm allowed to navigate creative assets or media or my opinion as much as I like. And that's what I'm saying. The power of partnering with Blunts and Beans for an event is that FaceTime through the conduit of your creativity of the event. You're giving a platform. Yeah. And I don't like to say that to brands, because it makes it a little bit like when you read like negotiation books, like Never Split the Difference, like, you don't want to like assert power over everyone immediately, like, you need us. But that's the skinny of it. That's the truth of it. So when a brand is scared to advertise or do something, like a friend of ours is trying to put this event, they're being slowed down by the liquor board. We don't even have a cannabis board. It's the liquor and gambling board, you know? So it's pretty obvious like where their strategy is, but I'm not going to get into that. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes directly from a brand, look, man, I agree. Like, you're under some pretty strict red tape and some commercially advertising policies that shouldn't be there. But I'm also standing here like a good friend who doesn't go to that school, who's just like right here. And like, their fear concerns me, because not like, hey, I'm doing okay anyway. Like, you either want to partner or you don't, I'm good. Like, I'm going to keep creating. And there's lots of folks who want to hire me for rap. So like, I'm having a good time, but I'm extending the olive branch. And in the hesitation of that with some brands, retraction and hesitation than I am when I see like a bullied kid.
There's just gonna be ebbs and flows, though.
Right.
Like,
but I've proven the case